there is literally so much shit that's going on currently, especially within like pop culture, nerd culture, just and technology in general, that it it was really hard for me to actually pinpoint one thing I really wanted to talk about or something that I could just kind of let loose on. Um, I honestly, like, nothing is positive right now. AI is taking over, and as someone that's an artist, I don't like it, but at the same time, it's now becoming so abysmal and ridiculous that in order for you to even access Microsoft stuff, you're basically bombarded with AI shit with their Copilot thing. And it got hacked. Like, how funny is that? Video games are just garbage still. You got the few diamonds in the rough, but whatever. Kathleen Kennedy is finally out, and this time it wasn't a rumor. It's actually true. James Gunn and what he's doing with DC is on the tail end of just stupid upon stupid. I've done a video talking about how ridiculous the Supergirl trailer was and what all that they got going on for DC in the future is just not going to be great. Hell, I only have one positive outlook, and that's from the video game Ace Combat coming back. They're making the 8th iteration. And I'm super excited for that because I love the Ace Combat series. So the fact that they're making a new one, yay! Really happy. Although One Piece live action is coming out, second season, and it's gonna be fucking garbage. But for whatever reason, because One Piece can't do no wrong, you got a bunch of anime fans that are sitting there and ignoring all the blatant issues in order to sit there and cheer for something just because it exists. And I find that ironic considering the fact that this was something that was considered horrible when it came towards Cowboy Bebop, Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, so many other goddamn adaptations from anime or manga being put onto the big screen, and people, Ghost in the Shell, and people called it out for every small, insignificant and significant detail. Yet for whatever reason, the biggest anime in the world with the largest fan base, for whatever reason, when the live action is shown, it's like they got blinders on, and I hate it. I hate having standards in this age where standards is the enemy, as far as the moronic are concerned. But the thing I wanted to pinpoint and dial down on is going to be something just distracted me, but it's going to actually be what's happening with Marvel for the new Avengers Doomsday movie. Now, for anyone that's excited for this movie, I have no idea what the hell is wrong with you. As of now, Marvel is just... It's just nostalgia. That's all that it is. That's all that it has going for it. There's nothing interesting or exciting that it has on the table that would make you go, oh, I can't wait for to see a new movie for that, or can't wait to see these characters do this or interact with that. The last bastion that they had of actually possibly producing something worthwhile was Fantastic Four. And that movie is very, very boring. It's not even bad. It's just boring. I considered it stupid, and a lot of the things that was going on in it, and I got a review for it. You can check anything from my little podcast talking about it and whatnot. But it wasn't anything worthwhile, especially when it came to, all right, finally someone's gonna do Fantastic Four right and put it on the big screen, and then they didn't. And I find that ironic because it's like that seems to be the notion behind everything else. It almost seems like the only thing that's going to be worth a damn is going to be their next Spider-Man movie, but even then, that movie basically might have the same impact as the other Spider-Man movies because those are all bullshit. I hate those movies because it's not Spider-Man. That's Iron Boy and his retarded adventures of stupid. But and if you sit there or being like, oh, you can't, like, how you don't even like the Tom Holland Spider-Man, there's nothing he did that is warrant that of Spider-Man. He had Iron Man, of all people, talk down to him in the first movie he was in, that if he doesn't have his suit, then he's not nothing. Iron Man, a guy who literally is just a suit. Peter Parker on his own has powers. He wears the suit to become Spider-Man, but he didn't need Tony Stark's help to make a suit. Fuck, we've had 2 other iterations of Spider-Man that didn't need Tony Stark's help to make a suit. But whatever, far be it from me for being a fan, but that's the current problem of what we got going on right now. But essentially, what we have is a nostalgia bait fuckfest, where everything that's happening, including the trailers that's being released, has only been to tickle those little member berries that you got, to where the biggest reveal and whatnot is that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to play Dr. Doom, a character that they haven't introduced, fleshed out, or even acknowledged throughout all of the MCU, but has one of the most complex fucking backstories of all time, which is why he's such a revered and interesting villain, and why he's one of Stan Lee's favorites because of everything that he went through. Are we gonna tackle that? Fuck no. How could we possibly do that? Hell, Disney, let alone, won't even do anything regarding Hell, and that's a major staple when it comes to his character. Is Disney gonna talk about Hell? No. They're gonna do some roundabout bullshit in order to bring up Mephisto, most likely, because Mephisto was introduced in Ironheart. But whether or not that's actually gonna tie into anything, who knows, who cares, whatever. But speaking of Ironheart, isn't that a thing? The fact that we have TV shows and movies that exist, but people have completely opted to not watch those. And yet this movie that's coming out is going to be this big old thing. And it doesn't seem like it's actually even necessary to look at the stuff that a lot of people opted out of, that they just kind of glossed over. I mean, hell, there's supposedly a white Vision around, just out there. And it's whatever. And it's you got the Echo show. I didn't watch that. Hell, I fucking tweeted this not too long ago, where I was like, I didn't look at Echo. I didn't look at Ironheart. I didn't look at the Marvels. I didn't look at Miss Marvel. And it's I looked at She-Hulk, but because of what you did with Daredevil and then your intent with She-Hulk, does that even count? Is that real? And it's does it matter? Because hell, that had a thing at the end where Hulk showed his son, Scar, or Skazar, I don't know how to pronounce, I think it's Scar. But, so does that even matter? What's the point? And it's what was the point of doing anything? I didn't look at the the Eternals. I didn't look at so much shit that they had going on. I mean, fuck, they were supposed to have Blade introduced, and they canceled that movie, but it's confusing. It's very confusing as to why I'm seeing people just being just super excited for it, because you shouldn't be. You really shouldn't be. Because, yeah, seeing legacy characters might be cool and all, and Lord knows that it put asses in seats. That's what happened with the Iron Boy 3 movie, when it had Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, actual Spider-Man characters, actors come in, but it's that movie is also dog shit. I mean, he learned with great power comes great responsibility after his aunt died when he was already Spider-Man. Fucking stupid. I'm telling you, he's not Spider-Man. I'm telling you, he's not Spider-Man. Jesus Christ. But it's crazy to me that essentially is well, now the only thing that people are pushing is just a nostalgia factor. The fact that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, Chris Evans coming back, you got a Wakanda trailer that showcased them meeting, the Thing from Fantastic Four, fucking an X-Men trailer that got Sir Patrick Stewart and I'm about to say Ewan McGregor. Is it Patrick Ewing? Damn, I can't remember. But you got the guy who played for normies, you got the guy who played Professor X, the guy who played Magneto in a trailer, as well as showing fucking Cyclops just lose his shit. And that was the best little teaser that they had. And all of it was just, all right, nostalgia. But I don't care. There's no reason for you to care about anything going forward with these characters, because they're not going to do anything with these characters. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. The ship has no rudder, and it ain't got no rudder or sails. It's just dead in the water. So, their last bastion was to offer up stupid amount of money to get back Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, who realistically was yeah, they're done. They're done, and then it's yeah, we can't really afford to keep them around, even though they've had them for so goddamn long. So, I'm very confused as to why, you know, people aren't recognizing the pattern going forward. Because again, we've been here before. We've done this before. This is the same thing that happened with Endgame, where you just had all these characters come together, but realistically, there was no cohesion. Nothing. It was like, yeah, this was the build-up, but honestly, this was a build-up done by someone else's idea, and you guys opted out to actually stick with it. So that in itself is kind of disgusting, yet this is where we are. And so I really don't understand. Like, I understand the whole notion behind the shield stuff. You know, shields are going to do what they do, and these people are literally paid to act all like stupid excited for this shit. I mean, they had a couple of people do a fucking guest screening of the teasers, the little quick, barely a minute long teasers where these motherfuckers went out to Hollywood to go into a room where it was okay for them to live stream looking at the goddamn teaser that they then released like the very next day or whatever. And it's like, so? And it's like, for these teasers that exist currently right now, nothing is shown. Nothing of importance has happened. Fuck, the first one was Captain America and it showed that he had a kid. And? Whoop-de-fucking-do. I fucking did a video talking about that when I was like, so what? And I was like, all right, yeah, we know Chris Evans coming back, and then you showcase that he got a kid. I would think that he had some children with whatever, the Betty chick, is that what her name? I can't remember. But it's like, so? Whoop-de-doo. What does that matter? What does that do for anybody? What does that mean going forward? Is this supposed to get me excited for the fucking movie? Am I supposed to care about, like, the stakes are now high? And it's like, again, you ended Endgame showing him as an old man, so you gonna fuck that up? And it's like, it's again, being aware of this content and then being aware of what it is that they're going forward with. It's hard to ignore the glaring issues that you got going on. So again, speaking about the Steve Rogers situation, you showed him as an old man pass on the shield to Sam Wilson, right? So he was old, okay? But you also had it to where in Loki, which tried to explain and tie in the whole timeline bullshit, that was a necessity. It was okay for them to do that because that was all supposed to happen. That was all pre-planned by Kang. So that was okay. But yet, the Doomsday movie is going to have Doom interfere with that shit. And so we have the multiple timelines going on, and the issue with the multiple timelines was that Kang was the problem dealing with going forward with everything. But it's like, hey, you know, you a black guy that's you know, you're in a court case, and it's like, so regardless of what that mean with your work ethic and ability to fucking act, because let's face it, that was one of the best moments that Loki ever had, was that nigga being in the show acting his ass off because he can fucking act, and then essentially being this presence that would showcase as this great villain leading forward to whatever the fuck the MCU currently is. He was cool. And you again were slowly building him up. You had him in a movie with Ant-Man. The Ant-Man movie is shit, but you had him in that. You have the idea and the other versions of him, and the idea that essentially he's going to take over. And then you just scrapped it because of some real world bullshit that ain't got nothing to do with the MCU in order to bring forth Doom, to where you're going to hire Robert Downey Jr. But realistically, that again, where the fuck, like, where are you going with that? Like, what is that gonna do? Because then after that, what is it, the Spider-Man movie, then the Secret Wars? Whatever, you know? It's just whatever. But again, it's like, so what matters and what don't matter? Why would you even be invested in this if essentially everything is just gonna get pushed to the side until the movie itself comes out and tells you what they think is good, what they think ain't good, what they think is right, what they think ain't right. All in all, just kind of bullshitting a bullshitter all the time. Like, it's disgusting to actually, like, to think back and being like, man, I wasted so much time looking into this shit if this is all it was going to lead into, because it's leading into nothing. And so it's like, yeah, seeing the Ant-Man Quantumania movie, waste of fucking time. Karen, like, even watching the fucking first Captain Marvel, waste of fucking time. so unnecessary of a movie. But and it's like now, it's all you got going forward is just nostalgia. It's just the fact that I'm seeing legacy characters from other good movies appear in what's going to be most likely a subpar kind of clusterfuck of a movie, where you're going to spend a majority of the time of them doing the simple Marvel gags, talking down on one another because fuck all, and then just having Doom kind of explain some very convoluted concept about whatever it is that he's got going on in order to explain and determine that, yeah, it's perfectly necessary for these people to cross over dimensions and timelines and shit like that, only to lead into some other shit that most likely you niggas ain't got planned, so or you haven't thought out correctly, you know. I just find it appalling to where it's like essentially they kind of just in your face with thinking that you're dumb when they push so hard for Sam Wilson to be Captain America. Regardless of how you feel about him being Captain America, that's not my point. I could care less either way. The thing is that they push so hard for him to be Captain America, only then to circumvent that by being like, look, we're bringing Steve Rogers back. We're bringing Steve Rogers back. And it's like, how do you not look at that and go, what the fuck? Like, what exactly, what are you doing? Like, rather than bring Steve Rogers back, why don't you write whatever the fuck it is you was gonna do with Steve Rogers for Sam Wilson's character? And then bam, there you go. The respect and recognition that he would need and deserve for being the next Captain America, where he's now the new leader. You put him in a leader position and you follow through with it. You have yet to do that. You have only led by the example of his race. Lead by the example of the character being what it is that you want him to be, but you haven't fucking thought that through. So there we go. It's so unbelievably stupid because it's inexcusable. After all this time, fuck the idea of Kevin Feige saying that he a fan of Marvel. He's not. He's not. Fuck the idea of these people, of like the Russo brothers, been doing right by Marvel characters. No, they did one good fucking movie, which was Winter Soldier. They did one good movie. After I saw Civil War, I was like, shit ain't curling right. It's not curling right. It really isn't. And it's like they were all on the bandwagon of doing shit to where it's like, yeah, you got to knock down some characters because Marvel don't got the rights. I mean, Disney ain't got the rights to these characters, so we got to knock them down to build up the other ones. But none of these niggas comics are selling anyway, so who gives a fuck? It's not good because it's not appropriate, because of the fact that essentially this could have been fantastic. The 10-year run that the MCU had, and when they ended on Endgame, should have been the bell that chimed that let Disney know you can now take these characters, these concepts, these worlds, and everything else and do whatever the fuck you want. You can make singular individual stories behind these characters because they come from comic books that have singular individual stories. You can have connecting overarching plots and movies and things like that because they work on that spectrum. You've introduced that spectrum so they can work on that spectrum. We've seen people watch multiple movies involving Spider-Man and it break the bank, regardless of how quickly or how soon those movies came out apart from one another. That doesn't matter. People like the character, so having other people portray the character, you're hindering yourself by essentially working under the guise of what the fuck the issue that Star Wars has, which again is Disney. But the issue with that is that a lot of people cannot supersede those characters past the actors that portrayed them. You can go past that. You just have to find the right fucking actor. But you're not doing that. So again, rather than reboot the MCU and rather than have it being this overarching story connected to each movie, from each movie to each movie, they could just be their own thing and you can have a multitude of different people playing these characters. But you shot yourself in the foot because you keep pushing it. And now you got some fucking 50-year-old geriatrics trying to play these characters that need nothing but CGI in order for them to even fucking walk correctly because of the fact that they can't handle the role, and you shouldn't have them there in the first place. Why was Harrison Ford Ross? There was no reason for Harrison Ford to play Ross. There's absolutely no reason for Harrison Ford to play Ross. And then when you watch that damn Captain America movie, it is so bad. I feel so bad for Harrison Ford because it's like he's showing his age and the shit. It's the same shit that Robert De Niro did when he did the Italian. Wasn't that it? The Italian something? The fucking Scorsese Netflix movie. Where it's like, dude, look at this man trying to move as if he's young. He's not. He's not young, not in shape, and you can clearly tell that there's something wrong. And it's like, and this is the best shot you got? Fucking move on. Get someone else, someone that you can work with, someone that is an up-and-comer, someone that you can have some substance with. But no, fuck it. It's like you need nostalgia. That's all that people are going to pay for is nostalgia. That's all that we got going for us is nostalgia. I swear to God, if they was just to scrub their writing room and like get some fresh meat in there, for the love of God, go like just comb through YouTube of people who actually give a fuck about comics and people who criticize the fuck out of your shit and get them in the backseat and to write this shit. Now I wouldn't say people like Critical Drinker, but Mauler, Nerdrotic, possibly. You know, just you got fucking Eric July doing what he's doing with his comic company. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to bolster the fact that it's like, hey, we worked alongside with Eric July, who's also working with these people from old DC, and they're writing some amazing shit for us now. And it's like, don't you think don't you think we're hot now? Don't you think we're a good commodity? And it's like, how, like, that would work for some type of PR, but it also would allow you to lead into some new shit. It's ridiculous because of the fact that it's like any avenue that you take outside of what it is that you're currently doing would be a positive, because it wouldn't be what the fuck DC is doing. And what DC is doing is just innately wrong, because all they're doing is just making more James Gunn stuff, and that don't work. It ain't gonna work because of the fact that James Gunn already made Guardians of the Galaxy. Now he just keeps making it again and again and again and again and again and again. But Marvel, you have the opportunity. You do not need to keep getting all these older actors to come back and reprise these roles of these characters. It should come up seldomly when this shit happens. You should have a fucking Old Man Logan story that actually has him going around killing the Hulk and shit like that, who got an inbred crazy ass family in a post-apocalyptic world, starring like an older, what's his name, Hugh Jackman, and fucking what's his name, Mark Ruffalo. Fuck, I'd go for Edward Norton just to put some stank on it. And it's like, why? And it's like, when they're old and you can actually do that, and it doesn't have to be connected to anything, but just that singular story that is Old Man Logan, bam. But it's like we're working with inferior minds right now, and I just don't like the fact that the people who are making this shit are clearly out of their depth, and then the people who are helping to promote this shit are clearly just happy to see anything. They don't have any sense of standard, style, or substance, and they lack the ability of pattern recognition to where, and like think about this, when you see these people who sit there and gripe and whine and cry about people talking bad about these movies and whatnot, what is the positive that they bring out about the movie aside from just, I liked it? There's nothing that they can bring up story-wise, acting-wise, or like, you know, visually, cinematography, the writing, nothing like that. There's nothing that they ever bring up that actually showcases that, yeah, that actually was a positive despite what it is these people are talking about. It's just genuinely, I liked it. I like that actress. I was like, well, that doesn't fucking mean that she can act. A lot of people like Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot couldn't act, but everyone was on the bandwagon that Josh Whedon was a dick for saying that, but that was something he was right about. She can't act. Him being a monster, that has nothing to do with anything, but him saying that she couldn't act, the guy who plays Cyborg couldn't act, you seen him in anything? I haven't. And it's like, yeah, that was true. We might not have liked it, but it was true. And that's essentially what we have going on now, is that we have way too many fucking people talking about the truth, and we got way too many shills just constantly like covering for it. And it was like, nah, you just a hater. You know, like, the fuck? Oh, remember when Disney made that fucking kid Star Wars show? It was about like the Wrecking Crew, the Skeleton Crew. Yeah, remember that? And it was like one of the big things that a lot of people pushed shield wise was that they were like, if people bully these kids because they played these roles. And guess what? Nobody watched the show. The show apparently wasn't even that bad. It was okay. It was the Goonies in space. And a lot of people were like, that's cool. But it's too little too late because Star Wars lost its credibility as being anything worth a damn. So people opted out from even watching it. It had fucking Jude Law in it, man. He can act. But it's like, yeah, no one even watched it. No one even gave a damn. And a lot of people actually who did watch it that gave a review about the show praised the kids' performance because it was like, hell, a child acting alongside Jude Law, as well as being able to hold their own against Jude Law and it still be an entertaining and okay show, fine. But the problem wasn't the show, the problem was Disney. And so now we're dealing with, again, it's like, this is what we're getting. And it's like, what do those people say after that? Well, I'm glad no one talked about the kids. They didn't say that. They didn't say anything. Fuck, they moved on just as quickly so they can sit there and defend The Acolyte, which was a really bad show. But they just had to defend it. That's all they did was just play defense, play defense, play defense. There is no attack because they have nothing to attack with. These people are bad people because they ain't about nothing and they ain't worth nothing. Fuck. To me, it's disgusting because, again, I know I'm gonna see the movie. You know, I don't mind watching Doomsday. Just see what all the hubbub is. It's like, fuck, I watched both seasons of Loki, and they're garbage. But yeah, see what all the hubbub is. But the thing is that I know it ain't gonna be worth a damn. And if anything, I'm more so inclined to just think that, is it gonna waste my time like Endgame did, or is it gonna waste my time like Infinity War did? Because Infinity War was a waste of time, but it still was quite entertaining. And overall, I had reflections on Infinity War. I fucking bought Infinity War, but I've only watched it twice. And that was when I saw it in the theaters and after I bought it. And then after I bought it and I watched it, I sat there and I told myself, I was like, yeah, Infinity War really ain't good. And I was like, I don't really like it. There's a lot of things that I have issues with. But the movie itself, it's fine. There's a lot of parts that are just fine. There's a lot of parts that I enjoyed, a lot of parts that I was like, whatever. But it's like, I had no inkling to watch it again. Not like Civil War or Winter Soldier, or the Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. Like, but it was, for the most part, it was something that I look back and it's just for a base of everything. And it's like, hey, Endgame was something I was like, I'm never watching this again. I didn't even fucking waste time to go buy it. I can't wait for my grandkids to look at my collection of movies and go, oh man, like I watched all of this stuff from the MCU and you're going all the way to Infinity War. How does it end? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A lot of these characters that supposedly died, they come back again, and by that time I didn't feel like wasting my money on some bullshit. So don't even worry about it. This was the last little good movie that they made. So just count your lucky stars. You're good. You're good. And it's like, I'm gonna save them from looking at Captain Marvel, and that'll be the main thing that they'll be happy about for me in the future. But I'm gonna end it here. This has been another episode of Fun with Flame. I've been your host, Danieltheflame. Subscribe if you want, like if you don't. But as always, good people, I hope you have fun.